Hey folks, just want to do a quick update and thank you for some of your patience. I've just finished with the module 6 and 7 discussion gradings, so hopefully that will be useful to you. And I wanted to do a quick video update and tell you what's going on in my world. On Monday afternoon, we had our third daughter. She was born Monday 3 o'clock, and so we've been having trouble sleeping and all that stuff, and so it's been fun, so appreciate your patience there. Also wanted to mention just a couple of my own posts. It's easier for me to talk them out right now than just to type and submit, so hopefully this will be useful to you. I want to begin back with baptism and the Lord's temptation. We'll kind of combine these two together. A lot of you guys did a good job with your posts. They were kind of reflective posts about your own personal experience. I was curious to see what you guys would do with a few of those prompts, and I'm glad to see how most of you handled them. Let me just give you some extra insight into the baptism and temptation narratives that I think are really helpful for reading of the Gospels. Baptism and infancy. Let me start there. Let's start with Jesus' birth. I wonder if you've ever noticed before how the story of Jesus' birth is a interesting reflection of the story of Israel's move from Egypt to and then back into Canaan, crossing through the Jordan, moving out into the wilderness, being tempted in various ways to doubt God. Is the story of Israel is very much like the story of Jesus. This leads many scholars to suggest that Jesus is, in fact, in some sense, successfully passing the tests that God gave Israel at the beginning of their ransom from Egypt. So the story in Matthew chapter 2 of Jesus' rescue from Herod is not unlike Moses' deliverance from the Egyptian Pharaoh. The movement of Jesus into the wilderness to undergo temptation is very much like the story of Jesus, who goes into the wilderness for 40 days to endure temptations of food, power, and an early announcement of his authority over all things at the temple site by throwing himself down and being rescued. He would have been testing God like Israel did at Manasseh. And so there's lots of parallels, and those are not accidental. Again, this is not just a recording of things that happened in history. It's intended for us to be good Bible readers and to pay attention to those sensitive details that point us to the trajectory of the theology of the individual gospel writers themselves. So while, yes, it's very useful for us to see how Jesus overcame temptation, I hope that you're not, that's a very one-dimensional reading of the Bible. It's a very surface-level reading and to apply Jesus' methods for overcoming temptation. There's actually something much deeper, fundamentally deeper, going on in those temptation accounts. That we are to see Jesus the great overcomer, Jesus the victor, Jesus the pure, Jesus the righteous, Jesus the one who fulfilled the law in such a way that Israel didn't. Now, when it comes to the temptation discussion of Jesus' words on the Sermon on the Mount, a lot of you did a good job seeing how that applied into the 21st century context. A lot of you, some of you are very personal about it. Some of you made great connections to how Jesus is in every way tempted like us, yet without sin, Hebrews connection. Others of you just kind of talked a little bit about temptation and a way that passage can help you practically. And all those things were helpful. I thought it might be worth just to mention quickly, however, that I think some of you struggled with the language of Matthew chapter 5. You struggle with the language of gouging out an eye or cutting off a hand. This, some mentioned, sounded kind of extreme. Well, we all do those kinds of things all the time, normally in our language. For example, my child who's 4 years old, I will frequently say about her that she is the smartest child in the whole world. Well, I don't really think, I know that there's probably somebody out there that's smarter than her. But by using that type of language, I'm intentionally using hyperbolic, exaggerated language to stress the point, right, that I really think she's amazing. Well, the very same thing's going on with Jesus' account in Matthew chapter 5. I mean, none of his disciples were missing fingers and hands and eyes. They understood that just like we are to understand that even the temptation, even the sin of thoughtful lust should be taken with the utmost seriousness. The gravity of sin is something that is something that Jesus is getting after. It's not just the physical act of committing adultery that's the problem. The problem is something much deeper, and it's just as intensely wrong. It's the propensity of our own heart. So some of you hit the nail right on the head. This is Jesus teaching us about the heart. The Sermon on the Mount might as well also be called the Sermon of the Heart. Jesus is saying later, it's always perplexing to me, Matthew chapter 6 and 7, where Jesus will say, some will do wonders in my name, but I'll declare to them, depart from me, for I never knew you. And then he'll say, and some will say that they know me, but they don't have any works to prove that they're a living tree. So you say, well, which is it? Are you someone who does works and therefore you're accepted by God? Are you someone who doesn't do works and just knows of God? Well, what Jesus is getting at is that the issue we have to be careful about always is our heart. Where does our love for the Lord lie? Where do we place our ultimate trust, faith, and confidence and hope? So hopefully, as you continue to read Jesus' work, you'll see this continuing emphasis on the heart and the nature of the heart and where we stand in relationship with God on the basis of our soul's orientation. Are we submissive to the lordship of Jesus Christ in our life, or are we dismissive of the lordship of Jesus Christ in our life? Anyway, I hope you're doing well. I hope that's helpful to you. There's a lot more to say. Those birth narratives, temptation narratives are fantastic, and the Sermon on the Mount is rightly considered the greatest of all sermons in the history of mankind. So again, I hope you're doing well. Contact me if you have any questions. This will be my entrance into the discussion forum this week, and I'll try to do some others more in line with things over the weeks to come. It's going to be a busy first week for me, so please be patient. If I don't get back to you within 24 hours, that's my fault, but please exercise a little bit of patience with me because of the newborn and all that stuff that comes with being a new father. So anyway, hope again you're doing well. Contact me if you have any questions. Thanks. Bye.